Welcome to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 282, midway through my journey. This is for Friday, December 22nd, 2022, the year whizzing on by. From Zenatta Consulting, I am Brett Martin.
And I'm Tyler Colt, and let's get right on into the show.
All right, Tyler, we got this is our last full CRM Zen Show of the year. Next week, we're going to be doing the ZenMe Awards and the full year in review, where we kind of go through all the previous 51 CRM Zen shows and pick out the highlights from those. So it has been a busy time. Oh, look, mistletoe. I'm not biting.
Not going to get us this time. Yeah, not going to get us.
Not happening. Not happening, Freddie. But anyway, all right. So anyway, we have a very, very busy show as we head into the year. Zoho is not stopping. So with that, let's get right on into announcements and events. And being the end of the year, there's not a lot of announcements and there's not a lot of events. So Zoho hasn't really put much out there. For us, like I said, we have got the ZenMes that are coming up here on December 29th with our full year in review. We had an internal meeting yesterday going through everything. Man, a lot happened last year, Tyler. So a whole bunch going on there. And then talking about January here a little bit, we have the Azaz, as always, the CRM Zen Show, and then we're going to be doing the Zoho Marketing Automation 2.0 full product overview. More CRM Zen shows, and I don't know if it's on here or not. I know we talked about it, but we've always done a Zoho One review, but I think this year we're revamping the resource library, and we're actually going to do a show similar to the Zoho One show, but we're going to talk about every single Zoho application and give it the thumbs up, thumbs down, quick overview kind of thing. And I think we're going to try to fit that in January.
Yep.
That's
the plan. Yeah, we kind of realized there are a couple of those applications, especially like FSM, that are now outside of Zoho One. Trainer Central, another one that we thought are worth covering. So rather than just limiting ourselves to the Zoho One apps, we're going to try to get through all of them. The running joke is every year that show gets longer and longer as Zoho puts out more applications. I expect to continue on that trend this year. So definitely worth taking a look. We went
an hour and a half last year with Zoho One. So now if we do all the Zoho apps, is probably going to be 2 hours long. It's going to be crazy. I don't know, but worth it. People seem to like it. So, and it's always good for us to kind of go through, and it forces us to reevaluate every single application every year and kind of see where they're at in the grand scheme of things. And as always, if you don't know, we would love for you to join our online community. That is Club Zenatta. That's club.zenatta.com, affectionately called Club Z. That is where you can talk with other Zoho lovers and ask questions, debate things, get help, put questions in for our Ask Zenatta Anything About Zoho show, where we answer your questions, all those kind of things. Also keep up on the news, because we actually are constantly putting the news in there on a daily basis as well. That's all the news that we cover on the show. So if you want to know what's going on in the world of Zoho, head on over to club.zenatta.com. And with that, Tyler, let's get right on into the news. All right, Tyler, we now have got introducing scheduled maintenance in Zoho Field Service Management. And this is not that the application is going to have some scheduled maintenance. This is scheduling maintenance inside of the application for your client. So I would imagine probably a highly requested feature.
Yeah, they're taking the Zoho approach here with FSM, where they roll it out, maybe missing a couple of these types of features, and then based on user demand and requests, they make their priority list and start getting through it. So a couple weeks back, we had talked about how they added like date-based workflows and a lot of custom functionality there. What the scheduled maintenance looks like is essentially, let's say, we have a client that works with refilling gas canisters. And you might know that you need to go on site and refill these canisters once a month for a certain company. So now you can set up basically like a recurring work order or a recurring service request that like on a predefined cadence is going to get back on the list to be scheduled. So if you're watching us on YouTube, you'll see essentially you can do it daily, weekly, monthly, every 2 months, every 3 months, etc. Just to, pre-schedule all this out so that you don't have to remember it and launch a service request. It will just know on behalf and launch it for you.
Yep. Very, very helpful. I remember all the machinations we had to go through. We had a client, remember, that had cleans awnings of all things, right? And just to set this kind of thing up in CRM, and we're going back 5-6 years ago, quite the process using workflows and
functions, like lots of different things going on.
And this is all you need right here. So it does it very, very, very nicely. So good job. Out of the gate, I have to say, I know this product was released and it was pulled back when it came out, but they did a really good job on the re-release of this application and putting it back up. For the most part, it's pretty good. Just missing a couple of things. I think offline mode is going to be the big one.
That's the last one. I think for me, at least, the last big thing, like significant thing that they need to add is just a rock solid offline mode for the application, and then the mobile application, I should say.
Right.
And then at that point, there would be very little reason not to give it a try.
Absolutely. All right, and moving on with the news. Also, for the field service management app, you now have web forms that are built directly into the application. This is not really particularly surprising to me. If you've ever looked at the FSM app, it's quite obvious that this entire thing was kind of built on the CRM platform, right? And the CRM has the web forms and those kind of things as well. So now you've got web forms. So if you are a user, does Zoho Forms integrate into FSM yet?
I don't think there's a native integration quite yet. A lot of the times, and it depends. It is really nice to have web forms here. A lot of the times, things are going to flow through CRM first and then kind of run over to FSM. But not all users have Zoho One or might even be using CRM. So in those cases, this is really nice to have just to be able to capture this. Most common use case is probably like to request service of some kind and kind of start that process through, service request, work order, appointment, and then invoicing. But nice implementation. It's always nice to have forms. Just again, we live in the world where we always think about Zoho One. A lot of our customers are on it, we're on it, but not everybody is. And so this will make a lot of sense for people on standalone Zoho FSM.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, in most cases, if you have Zoho Forms, you're going to want to use it just because of what it can do. But I'm not, it'll be curious. I have to check that out and see if it's been integrated into FSM. That'll be the next thing, I'm sure, that happens there. Because FSM is or is not part of Zoho One. I can't remember.
It is not, because they bill it on a per appointment basis. So that if you had, 30 W-2 employees and 50 contractors, you don't have to have all 50 contractors on Zoho One, right? You could just have them in FSM. The pricing threw me off at first, but the more I've thought about it, actually makes a lot of sense given the licensing rules with Zoho One.
Very nice. All righty, and then moving right along, Zoho Sprints 2.0 has been released. So if you are a Sprints user, this is an agile project management tool working in sprints, which is different than big old project management. In sprints, you're basically defining, I'm going to do these 10 tasks, and that closes out the entire project. And then I'm going to have another set of tasks, and I'm going to do those, and that closes out the project. And you kind of work through incrementally through whatever you're trying to do. That doesn't mean you're not planning things out in ahead, just things are done differently, not necessarily concurrently. And so Zoho Sprints has got a 2.0. It's a new one that's got a dot release. So they've made some nice changes to it. And if you are a Sprints user, I suggest you check out this blog. Most of the blog is broken into a series of YouTube videos. So you want to check out our newsletter. And if you get our newsletter, I'll have a link to this, or just head on over to the Zoho community. Is this on the community or the blog? It is on the community, and you can check it out there. But it looks like they've done a nice job here and just made a ton of different videos for these. So kind of describing everything.
Most of the things here are user interface, user experience updates. Nothing crazy, nothing structurally really changing with the application. But yeah, they've done a whole slew of user experience updates. Obviously, we don't go through each and every one of these just to keep the show, less than 2 hours, as we do have a lot of news here. But well worth taking a look at if you get the newsletter, if you're a Sprints user, just because these changes are coming down the pipe and will be in your account soon enough.
Very good. And moving right along, if you are a user of Zoho Bookings, which is Zoho's appointment setting application, this is where people will click on a link and they will be taken to a calendar and they can book a meeting with you. You now have the ability to copy or move services. Zoho has unique names for these things. So think of a service as a particular appointment type that you might have inside of Zoho Bookings. And you can then go ahead and now you can copy those and you can move them. You couldn't do that before. It was a real pain. You had to delete them, start over, all kinds of things. So that is a interesting thing. Zoho Bookings is still stuck in its original model, which is why you have this services type of thing. Its original model was, think of it as a hair salon and you've got X number of chairs and you get people and you're offering a different type of service. We're offering a color, we're offering a haircut, we're offering this, we're offering that. Yeah. They've then tried to put it into kind of a more standard Calendly Acuity scheduling kind of thing. It just doesn't work. We hope they get there. It's on our list every year. Tyler's new thing isn't just to fix anything. It's just to, what did you say? Start over? Is that where you are with this application?
Structurally, without going down the rabbit hole, the big difference between Calendly and Bookings is that Calendly does not store a calendar. It references a calendar, right? So you integrate it with Google Calendar, and then at the moment someone's looking to book, it checks and shows them the availability, but it's not trying to do like a two-way sync of calendars. Where Booking struggles that it's trying to maintain its own calendar and use that to show your availability. But the sync is just not perfect with Google, with, Microsoft. And so you can end up getting double booked. It's kind of the issue that we have with it right now. Nice to see them rounding out some of these features. This probably goes in the category of like things that probably should have been there already, just the ability to like clone a 30-minute meeting type and make it different availability, for like a priority meeting or something. So yeah, nice to see these things come through, but just structurally, they still have that issue with calendar syncing that keeps it in that, risky category for us.
All righty. And moving right along, you can now early access in Zoho CRM. This is kind of create and embed custom capabilities across CRM with process flow with their latest low-code tool. This was announced a day ago. It's the end of the year, and this has the potential to be a fairly major update to Zoho CRM. You called it blueprints on steroids as we were kind of doing the pre-show prep here, but what's this about?
Yeah, so in the title of this news story, they probably should have capitalized process flow. That's like the name of this tool in there. So process flow is the latest low-code tool. Just for those who, when I read this, I had to read it twice to get that. Process flow is essentially like a blueprint builder, but it runs across various modules. So we use blueprints pretty often, like a structured way to move deals through a stage or leads through a lead status. This would be essentially a way to move a lead through its statuses and a deal through its status and a related quote through a set of statuses, right? So it's essentially blueprints across multiple modules with like instructions, guides, decision points. It's really nice. I mean, we'll have to see it in action. Again, this is early access, so expect it's going to miss a feature here and there right out of the gate, and they'll be updating it often. But this has a huge or very high ceiling for what this can do. One thing with it is that you as a business definitely need to have these processes very clearly defined, because once you install this, this is going to be how you move through the system, right? It's similar to blueprints. Like once a deal has a blueprint associated, that's how you work the deal. And there's not a lot of other choices on how to do it. So for those who do have, solid processes documented, this could generate a huge amount of value.
I can see a lot of value in this. I mean, oftentimes, we'll pull out a lucid chart, and basically, if you're watching us on YouTube, it's got creating your process flow, and go through this. What is your flow? How do things work? Because you kind of need to know this oftentimes when setting up a sales process or a delivery process. And so by doing this now, and then, if you want to then force the absolute implementation of this entire thing, very cool. Looking forward to playing with that in 2024. Well, it's early access now. So I would call this early access 2024, wouldn't you? Because we've got
just about. We'll round up.
A couple days left. All right, and moving on with the news, Zoho CRM version 6 APIs are here. Wow, how does time fly? Because I remember when we switched from 1 to 2, and you had to go through and change the number 2 on a lot of things. And
they've been going crazy with the versioning on APIs. I won't get on my soapbox and go crazy about that again, just to keep this show under 2 hours. But yeah, so they're rolling out a new version of the API, handful of new endpoints. Most important on these are things like unblock email APIs. So they've released functionality for users to unblock an email in CRM that's been bounced. You can also now do that from a deluge or API action. It's really nice. Like an example we were talking about before the show is you could set up a trigger on a workflow that runs a function when an email is bounced. You could have that check the email against ClearOut or Hunter.io. And if it's not a bounce on that side, maybe you unblock it and try one more time, things like that. So yeah, well worth taking a look at the new endpoints. That's, I think, the big one that I would really see day-to-day immediate usage for. Right. Other than that, the versions are mostly the same. It's just a couple of new endpoints supported.
They're not forcing you to go through and change numbers like they did way back in the day.
They will. Yeah, it'll happen. Yeah, I don't think it's, I'll share more with you after the show. I don't think it's public knowledge.
All righty. Moving on with the news, you could now, if you are a Bigin user or you're moving to Bigin and you're moving to Bigin from something like Pipedrive, which is probably the thing closest to Bigin, you can now choose the pipeline that you're migrating to during migration. So if you're watching us on YouTube, if you've ever used Zoho CRM, it's an extremely similar interface when doing a migration here. But you basically are going to choose your exact pipeline from Pipedrive that you wish to poach over to Bigin and where you want it to go specifically. Looks like right now they're supporting HubSpot, Insightly, and Pipedrive on this migration. So you've got those choices as well. But this allows, rather than just put it into a general pipeline, you can do it. They're also supporting Zoho CRM. So you can now choose your pipeline. Or the PSA. Nice. There you go. And in Zoho Desk news, it now integrates with Google Chat. So if you're a Google Chat user, most people who do this, if you're part on Google, what do they call it now? Workplace?
Google Workplace.
Like yeah. Usually you see chat, it's inside email. You can actually enable it across calendar and you can enable it in email. And a lot of people use it as internal chat and they communicate externally through that as well. So now you can integrate it in Zoho Desk. But mostly it's going to be a collaboration tool, I would think, right? I don't know. Is there external Google Chat or is it all internal?
I don't believe so. I'm pretty sure
I think it's all collaborative.
Maybe it's it might be external if you've got like Google My Business. People might be able to chat with you.
Don't use it that much. But either way, chatting, Google Chat. If you're a Google Chat user, you know what it does. You don't need us to tell you. You can figure it out. And maybe this will be helpful for you. But Zoho seems to continue to go down this route. We've got, they've done stuff with, what is it? WeChat?
WeChat. Right? Yeah, a lot of the different chat tools they've started integrating with.
A couple of the other big ones that they're trying to integrate with now. So very cool. And I haven't played with Arate much. Hey, remember Arate? That was Zoho's chat thing. Instant messenger.
I don't know where that really went at the end of the day. I didn't see a ton of usage for it.
Oh, well, it's basically just like having WeChat or any of the others on your phone. So there you go. All right, and ending the news, we now have got some updates in Zoho Workplace. This is an article that covers all of the updates in the Zoho Workplace for October and November. We just wanted to point out that this article dropped. And if you're a Workplace user, this will be in the newsletter, or head over to the community, because this is a big roundup of everything that has happened in Zoho Workplace over the last 2 months. And it is a long list because there are a lot of apps in Zoho Workplace. And while we did our best to cover most of these on the show over the last few months, there are probably some that we missed. So you might want to take a look at this article because there's a lot going on here that they have now added in. So there you go. I think one of the big ones I looked at here that I don't think we covered was out of office messages can now be, you can say this is my out of office message for people in my organization and my out of office message for people who are not in my organization. I think that's pretty cool. Because that you can get very specific there, letting people, if you have a large organization, hey, I'm out of office and you need to talk to Joe, and if you can't get a hold of Joe, but still you can word it and be a little more blunt than you probably would with external people. So it's pretty cool.
Or even like different escalations, like my customer facing out of office might say email support at Zenatta. My internal out of office might say email Brett or Josh at Zenatta, right? Because different people emailing you would have different, fill-ins while you're out. So really nice. A couple updates too to like file previews, like video and image previews in WorkDrive that I know has always been a bit of a pain point for users. But yeah, ton of updates here. Highly recommend kind of going through this. It'll be, like Brett mentioned, included in the newsletter as well as the show notes.
Yep. And I noticed here you can also set your preferred Indian language. I did not know that there are 22 official Indian languages. That makes sense, though. It's a big country.
Yep.
And you have to think that there are a lot of various dialects across that. And it's been around a long time. So, so you can set that. So anyway, very cool. A lot of updates. Take a look at that. And with that, Tyler, let's wrap it up and head on over to our implementation of the week.
Alrighty, so implementation this week was built out by Drew Brockbank and JP on the development side. This is a automated call summary generation using CRM, Phonebridge, and OpenAI and ChatGPT. So really the core goal here was to build out an automation that could create call summaries automatically when call logs were added to CRM. So one of the things with Phonebridge is that when you connect most telephony options, like for example, RingCentral, you have the option of actually turning on that the recordings log inside of CRM. Important thing to note, they don't really store the file there. They kind of reference the recording URL and embed it in the call so you can listen to it, but it's technically not stored in CRM. What this does, though, is it does give us the necessary information that we need to go reach over to the RingCentral API and get that file, the recording of that call. Then the call basically sends that MP3 file to ChatGPT, where we've built a bot that is essentially ready to receive audio files and create audio summaries of them, like what happened on the call, what was discussed, any action items, right? And then it responds to our function with that call summary kind of formatted for us. That summary can then be stored in the CRM in like the description of the call field. If you wanted to, let's say, go through, spot check some of the calls with the manager every week, or you can even take that response, format it into an email, and send it directly out to the client as a summary of the call that you just had. So really nice. I mean, some of these tools like Fathom for Zoom are able to do this natively for like a, digital meeting. But things like, telephony services, this is not as common in terms of functionality that's supported. So
I had
really nice just to be able to pull that summary out.
I had no idea that ChatGPT could even listen to an audio file and transcribe it. It's doing more than that.
OpenAI, I'm pretty sure it's ChatGPT. It might be a different service provided by OpenAI, but I'm pretty sure it's a ChatGPT that does it, that just listens to it and then gives out that summary back to you. And again, like for this build, we were sending it out as an email, but you could really store it anywhere that you want. within the system.
Oh.
Again, only dangerous thing here, if it is going to send it as an email, is like, hopefully it's all correct, right? Like I'm sure, do you see recently on I think it was a Chevrolet dealership, had a chatbot that was powered by ChatGPT, and the user convinced the bot to agree to sell it a car for $1. So they had to shut down the bot and void the contract and everything. But so always be a little careful whenever you're sending something from a chatbot directly to a person. There's always going to be a little bit of risk.
I wonder if that was a person. I wonder if that was a person dealing with, or a chatbot dealing with the chatbot. If a person wrote a bot to negotiate with the bot, and got that down to $1. I don't know.
Yep.
Either one. Crazy. That's pretty good stuff, though. I mean, I just no idea that it seems like more and more of the capabilities of ChatGPT, they're blowing me away. We did something the other day where it was looking at, basically it said, here's an article that we're going to post on the website. It's on this website. Look at this website and find articles that we may want to cross-link into this article. And I thought, chat, no way it'll do that. You have to say use Bing, right? But anyway, it did it. It basically came back and said, here are 3 articles you want to cross-link, and here's where you want to cross-link them. And it's crazy, the power of these things. I will tell you, what I'm not hearing, though, is that there are usage limitations. It will time out. It'll say, sorry, you're done. You have to wait 2 hours. You can't use it. You're at a timeout. You've been overusing it. And I'm wondering how these companies that are actually posting it, using it, doing it for these things, what happens when you hit these kind of like timeout implementations. Because they're only charging $20 per month for this thing. I'm waiting it for be $500 a month, because I think you have a lot of corporations.
Yeah. It's going to come
a lot
up.
of companies that would easily pay. They pay, hey, here's $500 a month, right? $1,000 a month, whatever it's going to take, because of the usage case for this. So very, very, very cool. All right. And with that, let's head over to Zenatta. Actually, not do that. We've got something we don't normally have. We've got a read of the week. And this is the title of our show. We've got Midjourney versus DALL 3. What is the better image generator? Because if you don't talk about AI at least 50 times on our show, Tyler, then we're not doing our job. If you're unfamiliar, DALL 3 is OpenAI's image generator. And so if you're in ChatGPT, one of the things you can do is you can choose ChatGPT 3.5, 4.0, or DALL. And you can say, give me an image of this. And you just put in plain text and it generates an image. And Midjourney lives inside of, what's that application that everybody uses? Discord. Midjourney lives inside Discord, and you basically do a chat inside of Discord, and it generates images there. So the people over at Zapier did a blog. This was actually Harry Guinness who did this, and he came up and he just kind of did a head-to-head between the two. And it's just, if you're watching us on YouTube, it's just absolutely cool to watch the images that are generated by both sets of applications. Midjourney tends to do some it's interesting as you look at it, where they separate who's different. Each of them have their own little strengths and weaknesses. I think at the end of the day, it appears Midjourney wins over DALL. I think that's where Freddie comes in on this entire thing, just from a pure power.
It seems like when it comes into realistic looking images, if you're making things that aren't supposed to look realistic, then results are going to vary. But if you are looking for something that looks like a photo, it doesn't even seem close between the two of them. At least I haven't spent as much time as I think you and Freddie have. But for photorealism, Midjourney's pretty insane how good it's getting.
It is. So anyway, if you were thinking about using, I suggest you try them both out. But they're pretty crazy. And we've talked about this in the past, but all these stock photo companies and all these photographers out there who made a living doing stock photos and then posting them on all the stock photo places, and people would buy the stock photos and buy licenses for the stock photos. Well, you don't need to do that anymore. You just go to these applications, and usually in a couple of minutes, you've got a custom image that is perfectly suited to whatever you were after. So very cool. So check that out. That's over on the Zapier blog. And then moving right along over to Zenatta. Let's see what we got going on over there. Well, Tyler, as you just did, every week on the CRM Zen Show, we do our implementation of the week. And, the team went through the last 52 implementations that we've done and pulled out the top 10 implementations for 2023. So you may have, as a listener to the show, you may have found one that was cool, or maybe you haven't paid any attention, but we've kind of put them together here for you to take a look at. I'm not going to go read about all 10 of these, but there are some very cool. Any in here that was like, you're like, wow, that was one of my favorites that came out of the entire year?
Do you like the one at the top? One at the top there is using XML related lists to show purchase orders on a deal. So like for companies that do a lot of back ordering, where like the salesperson closes a deal, without this, they have no visibility into the purchasing process unless they go into books or inventory. So
Got
like
it.
I sell you product, you call me in a week, where are we at? I can say, oh, the PO is expected to get here on this date, and we're doing this and we're doing that, without having to jump between applications. There's a lot in here, honestly, that we really like most of our implementations, obviously selfishly. But yeah, that one stands out. But yeah, across the board, great work to the team, really, for each of these. Obviously, shout out to Greg for his ChatGPT bot and Click. But yeah, across the board, well worth taking a look at each of these, and shout out to the team for such great work all throughout this year.
Great stuff. We also want to give a shout out to our client EV Plus, who gave us a very, very nice case study implementing. We did Zoho CRM for them, as well as some analytics and forms. And thank you to Drew Tippett there for giving us a shout out and putting that case study together. Cool little company. EV charging stations, kind of completely outsourced, right? It's very cool little company. So thank you guys so much for that. And with that, on top of all of this stuff, we also have now a tip of the week to finish up the year. All right, Tyler, you got excited about this one. This is WP Webhooks. We were doing something for a client, and they needed some web work done, and you went in and found this application. So tell us all about it.
Yeah, so a lot of the times we find ourselves building out integrations between various WordPress tools, plugins, applications, etc., and Zoho. And it can be tricky sometimes to get those tools integrated into the appropriate Zoho apps. And there's a lot of different plugins that will do this. You know, you've got like CRM Perks does a solid job with like WooCommerce, but wouldn't work for like WooCommerce subscriptions. There's tools called WordPress Swings that will work well for like contact forms, but doesn't do well with more complicated data sets. What WP Webhook is basically an application that integrates with an absolute boatload of WordPress apps, whether they're WordPress native or custom plugins, right? So like Elementor works with that, Gravity Forms, CF7, WooCommerce and WooCommerce subscriptions. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can see Brett is scrolling the page. Basically what this does just gives you ability to post a webhook with a full set of data about something that happened based on a huge amount of trigger points. So in this case, we were doing it with WooCommerce subscriptions. So I could post anytime the status update comes through. So when someone signs up, the status is updated to active. So it triggers anytime a payment is received. So on like renewals and things like that, I can write all of that to Zoho. Triggers on cancellation, expiration, all these different things. And we're basically just able to notify, Zoho Flow, where then we can run that data through a deluge function and do whatever we want with it across the Zoho ecosystem. So it just cut down on like having to figure out plugins that would work well natively, where this just lets you build your own on the fly using webhooks and something like Zoho Flow to catch them. So really, really good. Can't say enough how much time this saved in that implementation. Because it's super robust, good suite of testing tools. So like one thing we always like is you can just press a button and it sends demo data that looks exactly like the real data. So you can test without having to like run a $1 credit card charge over and over and over again, right? To like receive a payment. You can just press the magic button and it will post a payment for you. Really good tool across the board. I would say anyone
reasonable.
Yeah, pricing is super reasonable compared to like alternatives, right? Like WordPress Swings is one that a lot of people use, and it's about the same price, and I would say worse functionality. So yeah, well worth taking a look at if you're doing really any type of WordPress integration.
Excellent stuff. Very cool. All right, and with that, Tyler, let us head on over to our tip of the week. You have been a busy bee, so you basically sat down and finally did a quick overview on RouteIQ. For those of you who don't know, that is Zoho's routing tool, mapping tool. For years, we have recommended Mapsly. That's kind of been our favorite one that we do. And so you decided to, I know lately we've been kind of saying some good things about RouteIQ. You dug into this for 17 minutes. What'd you think? What's your results?
Yeah, really solid. I mean, it doesn't, I would say, works as well or better than Mapsly for the routing side. Mapsly is still the king of territory management in terms of CRM. RouteIQ doesn't give you the ability to like draw on the map and then auto assign territories in that same way. But what RouteIQ does really well is it essentially syncs with like any Zoho module, so deals, leads, accounts, or like multiple modules. Pulls in all of your custom views, so you can have like deals needing a site visit, right? And those show up so that you can easily create routes between them. Solid mobile application, so users can actually do all the navigation just natively through the mobile app. Yeah, so well worth taking a look at. Really tight integration. I actually show the integration setup in the video, and you'll see it's like the first minute and a half because it's very quick to just set this up. So yeah, hopefully everyone finds this video useful. It's one of those applications that not everybody needs, but if you are doing some of that lightweight field service, or maybe you don't need FSM, you don't need everything that FSM does, you just need some quick routing, this is well worth taking a look at.
Fantastic. And as always, guys, if you don't know, please head over to youtube.com/Zenatta. That's where we keep all of our videos. We have over 14,000 subscribers. We would like you to join that. Now, 602 videos. I know it's just a couple days ago we hit 600 videos. I was like, wow. And we pruned some of these out. So pretty crazy. So head on over to there. You will find basically on the YouTube channel anything that you pretty much, I think at this point, it's very little in the world of Zoho we haven't covered. We continue to update, and as new things come out, we make videos on them. But most likely you can find what you're looking for there. And if you can't, well, you can just ask us, and maybe we'll cover it on a Zoz, or maybe we'll make a video for you. But we appreciate your support. And again, please like and subscribe and join us over there on youtube.com. All right, buddy. That's it. The last full CRM Zen.
Normal show. Yeah, last normal show for the year. Next week, we'll be getting into the full year in review. The Zenmies, Freddie, you're not getting
chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
For the audio listeners, Brett actually sang
that. Was that actually me, or did he pop me into ChatGPT?
No, that was the AI. Yeah,
that was the AI.
Brett AI.
Right? With a little Bing Crosby going there, I think. Oh, no, he actually put it, Michael Bublé filter is what he was after there. My voice,
so.
Yes. It was very, very nice. Anyway, all right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have enjoyed our show this year. We have enjoyed doing it for you. If you would like to talk to Tyler, myself, or other people over here at Zenatta.com, please head over to our website and click on Book a Meeting, and we'll be talking to you in no time.
And on the website is also where you'll find complete episodes of the show, as well as links to all the stories we discussed today. If you want that news delivered to your inbox every single Monday morning, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. And last but not least, don't forget to like and subscribe here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app. We'll see you next Friday for the year in review and the Zenmies.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Have a great holiday.